Hello, this is Jimbo from Top Shelf Hemp Wellness, and I have a special guest here today, Cindy Van. And for anyone who doesn't know who I am or what I do, this is a wellness shop in the sense of natural products, including cannabis as the focus. So I help with wellness in many different areas, whether it's physical wellness, mental wellness, performance optimization, all kinds of things for people to grow in creative ways they need to grow for their mental health. And also, I'm an advocate for freedom to choose how you practice those things, whether it's for therapeutic reasons or recreational reasons. And our freedom is very important, and we should be honored in that way. And Cindy Van is so awesome. She represents that in more ways than one. She's awesome. She needs to tell a story you all need to hear. Okay, so I'll start with how I met her. So when I opened this business about a year ago, I made friends with the neighbors here, and got JR. He owns a shop called iFixit. You all might know that already because he's been here longer than I have. So we're friends, we're talking, we're helping each other in different ways, staying motivated. I'm learning from him, he's learning from me. And one day, his mother, Sydney, is in the store, and he introduced me, and she's talking, and she's outspoken, and she caught me off guard because I've only seen people of her type of communication style on TV and movies, you know, the typical, you know, New Jersey, New York, that kind of rough, bold, in-your-face, direct, confident. I've never been around a person like that, so I was thrown off, you know, and I said, oh, is she mad at me? Is she yelling at me? What's going on here? And then, you know, because of who I am, I took time to listen. Okay, I understand here. That's who she is, that's her character, that's her personality. She means well, she's very loving. And after that, after I felt safe, I guess, she started telling me about her story, and it was so incredible and had so many twists and turns, and it's so moving and inspirational that I doubted that it was true for a moment, you know. Sometimes you think, oh, is this person telling the truth, or is there something wrong with them? Do they need medication? Have they not taken their medication? Or what's going on here? You know, but both could be true, I don't know. So I just listened respectfully, and I'm fascinated by it. Even if it wasn't real, I mean, it's an incredible story that I was entertained and educated by. So at some point in the future, her son invited me over to their home, you know, on occasion to, you know, have some fun, you know, chit chat, barbecue, campfire, and she's telling the story again. And I'm like, okay, here we go again. This is a recurring theme with people who are telling something that's true and they're very passionate about, or it's a pattern of a mental situation that we can explore later. But anyway, so I'm looking at her son, you know, his body language, you know, as she's telling, you know, frequently to kind of see how he responds. I'm thinking, maybe his reaction will give me some insight into whether, you know, this is real or not, and, you know, he might nod like the usual nod that maybe a son does for someone who's not quite telling the truth, and even when they don't know it. But he confirmed all of it, and as time goes by, everything she says in little bits and pieces, I'm thinking, okay, well, wow, this is real, this is true. And then it started to connect with everything I do and believe in already. To me, it was very easy to see that with time. It's just the right thing to be involved with a person like this for many reasons. But the most important reason is a friend. I really love this woman, and she's been through a lot, and I help people, and I care about what when they go through difficult things. And if I can be anything that helps them in any way, and it doesn't have to do with money or anything, I want to be that person, and that's the most important part of the relationship. But she has a bigger message, a much bigger message that everybody should know and hear and be involved in, because it affects everybody at every level, the bottom to the top, the evil, the good, the rich, the poor, everybody. So I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to let her tell the story because she does that already well enough. She doesn't need my help. I've learned from her how to talk and tell stories and move people. I really have. I haven't told her that yet, but I have. So please take over from here and be the awesome you that you always are.
Well, thank you, Jimbo. Hi, my name is Cindy Van, and I have to giggle at how he explains me. I am born and raised in New Jersey, and I came to Texas 23 years ago. Came with lock, stock, and barrel with 3 children and a husband and a dog. And we came here with a business called Excel Communications. And, you know, we thought we had the idea why we came here, but God had a different story. And the story unfolded, we came here in 2002, and around 2004, my husband, which is a Vietnam veteran, he was in the Navy, started to get ill. And we had no idea what was wrong, but, taking him to doctors and that sort of thing, and as time went on, his illness got worse. I often tell people that, you don't know what you have until it's gone, and it's true. I love my husband. I still love him. I miss him dearly. But as the years went on and I was his caregiver in that, he passed away in 2014, and I was devastated. And I'm very spiritual. I grew up a Catholic, and I was taught that, when things aren't right or when things are even good, you talk to God. So I asked the Lord, what do you want me to do after his death? And he audibly told me to write my book. So I wrote this book here. It's called PTSD. I didn't want to title it after post-traumatic stress disorder, because even though it's about that and what it does to a family and what it did to my husband, I used an acronym for it, Passing Through Shadows of Death. Because when you have PTSD, you literally pass through shadows of death. It's suicide and addictions, drug addictions, alcoholism, and it does a number on the person who is going through it, and then a number on the family. It's sad. So as a result of writing this book, it got into the hands of a friend who gave it to a doctor friend in Rockwall, Texas, and she proceeded to give it to some Hollywood producers. So never in my dreams would I have dreamt that I would write a book that would become literally a Hollywood movie. But here I am talking to you today that it is going to be a Hollywood movie. One of my producers is Terry Benedict, who made the movie with Mel Gibson called Hacksaw Ridge, which was about a Medal of Honor winner. And now when I think of the word Medal of Honor winner, I am having an event on May the 10th in the National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington, Texas. So talk about doing things and things coming to you that you would never dream of. I'm one of those people. When I think of PTSD in this place that I'm sitting in, I've never, I'm a baby boomer. Grew up in, I was born in 1955, grew up during the Civil Rights Movement, grew up during Vietnam. When Vietnam veterans were shamed when they came back. And that was another thing that caused PTSD with a lot of them too. They came back not as heroes like our veterans today do. But anyway, sitting in this place called Top Shelf, Hemp and Wellness, I've never used drugs, and I don't call hemp a drug, but just speaking from the perspective of being a baby boomer, which, you had Woodstock and people were getting high off a pot and that, and I grew up with a dad that was like, it was horrendous to even talk about those things. But I look at what Jimbo does here and how he educates people and talks with people and helps people that come in here with anxiety, with PTSD. It's just phenomenal. I myself, like I said, I don't use the product, but I believe that if it can help people, I've seen the use of this help stop seizures in children. So if it were me as a legislator, I would legalize this stuff. It's important. It's not about getting high. Some people want to get high, and hey, that's cool for them, but there's some people that want it to help them, give them peace in their life and give, with anxiety. And I know I have friends, I have family that they need to come here and get help with Jimbo. It's phenomenal. So I just ask people to just really educate yourself and see what this stuff is about. It's more than a drug that unfortunately some people get arrested for. It's a solution. It's a fast-acting thing that can work for people. So I'm here today, sitting here, talking about my event that I'm going to have on May 10th, but also try and encourage people that what Jimbo does is really exceptional. And he's an exceptional man. He's got a heart for people. He's got a heart to help people. I mean, I've come in here and he sits and talks with people, you know, that come in here that maybe don't have family, maybe don't have that support. And this man sits and you know, doesn't have to take the time with people to talk to him, but he does. And I think that's awesome. So come check out Top Shelf Hemp and Wellness, and come check out my website, cindyvan.com, and that's C-I-N-D-Y, V like in Victor, A-N-N.com. It'll talk about my movie. And I also have an event that is on May the 10th at the National Medal of Honor Museum. And we have tickets that you can either sponsor or you can donate tickets for veterans that can't afford to buy a ticket. And that is at eventbrite.com, and you can look up the Stars Gala, and that is my event. And I would hope that you would check it out and, you know, help somebody that needs help, because this is about bringing hope and healing to people, especially, not that anybody other than a veteran is not in need, but especially to give hope and help to our heroes. And our heroes are our veterans, our law enforcement, our first responders. These people see things on a daily basis that it blows us away. So I hope you would join us on May the 10th and bring some hope and healing to this movement that we have. Because this movement, this became a mission at first, but now it's a movement to bring hope and healing for post-traumatic stress disorder. I know a lot of people don't want the word D in it. They want to just call it post-traumatic stress. And I have respect for that, because to some people it's insulting to say they have a disorder. But back when my husband was suffering from it, it was a disorder. But he's not here now to talk about this, but I know if he was here, he would be phenomenally supportive of what Jimbo does. He'd be phenomenally supportive of this event. And I always say to people, he's doing the happy dance up in heaven, because we are keeping his memory alive. This is his legacy for him and what he did, and for my family. So thank you for having me here today, and I really hope that I can, whoever sees this, I might not ever meet you, but I hope someday that I get to meet you. Thank you.
Well, I just want to add one quick thing. A lot of people don't understand this nuance with marijuana, hemp, cannabis. It's actually already legalized. And when I say that to people, they're like, wait a minute, I thought it's only legal in California, Colorado, and Oregon. No, it's actually legalized here in Texas. It's legalized in such a way that it's so restrictive and confusing, and our government, politicians, legislature haven't put in the necessary safeguards to protect people. Mm-hmm. So what's happening right now is a battle for one side to just ban it all together, and another side to put better, stricter regulation that protects everybody. So it already is legal. So if you don't know that, it is. There's just a fight to either remove it altogether or put, safety and guardrails in place that are not there, that should be there. So that's an important distinction to make. And I know you probably can't tell a lot about your life story and everything that's so fascinating that I know. You guys don't.
It would take hours to do that.
Well, not just that, but if you're making a movie, you can't tell everybody about it.
Because I would give the movie away.
Yes, they need to go see it and experience it in a different, full way. And then after that, who knows? Maybe Jenny would be happy to talk to you. She loves everybody. So I'm a little sad. Oh no, she didn't tell more of the story, because this really isn't about me. It isn't. It's about her. And because she is in the movement that I'm into, and so we're both in that movement. Yes, I do this, she does that, but the focus is the movement that she has. It really is. I don't care about money and fame. I want that thing that she wants, is the movement. That's what I care about, well-being. We're in an ill country, mentally, physically, and we see all the symptoms, and they come out as stress. But I'm a little sad that she can't tell more. I want her to tell more, but I totally understand and respect that.
Well, what would you like me to tell?
Well, I don't want you to cross lines that you shouldn't cross, because of your business partners, and because of, for other reasons that are important. I don't know what those are, so I can't really, I don't know. there's a lot of your story that made me cry, and on the inside, and me being a man, I've always thought that don't cry. But now I've learned that, you know what, you have to cry as part of healing. You have to let that out. You have to do it. So I do it more now than I ever have. And it's still hard because there's that part of me that says, no, don't let anybody see your tears. So there's so much.
It's a stigma.
Yeah, and I'm fighting that stigma because that's interfering with my healing.
It's a stigma with this stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if my husband was here, he would say, you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so.
Documentation beats conversation, you know? And he's got documentation about all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And how people need to be educated more. And,
yes, that's true. But what you're doing is part of that, because when someone is involved in making a movie about their story, and it's a good movie, and it's made by successful directors, producers, actors, that reaches people. And so it's not just entertainment for money, that's part of it, but this is to reach people. It's a tool, it's a device for healing. And I think that's incredible.
Well, as one of my movie producers say, Amber Higgins, she said, storytelling is how you get people's attention. And what are movies? They're storytelling.
Exactly.
They tell a story. And people are moved by true life stories too. And this is a true life story. Yes, I went through tremendous trauma. My husband went through tremendous trauma. You know, living with a man that saw death day in and day out when he was in Vietnam. He served on the rivers of Vietnam with Navy SEALs and saw death, and, you know, it was horrendous. Came back home and, you know, the government says, okay, you're back home now, go get a job and function normally. You can't. It's impossible. And I know so many people, both know them personally and know of them, that men, and of course we have women that have served in combat too. They come back and they're told, you know, don't talk about it, you know, stuff it in you, and that's not good. It's not good at all. You know, we need to let it out, whether we have to cry or we have to tell our stories. And if we tell our stories, okay, somebody will look at that and go, well, gee, that really happened to them, and that's kind of like what I'm going through. It helps people that they're not the only person going through something. I mean, this affects millions and millions, possibly billions of people around the world. When we had COVID, it isolated people. I will never forget, I was giving my book to a police officer, and he said to me, ma'am, the one call that I will never forget during COVID was from an 80-year-old woman. She called us up and she wanted help because she was going to commit suicide. So we went to her home and we asked her why. And she says, because I cannot go and worship my Lord because the churches were closed. That caused her PTSD. That caused her trauma. PTSD is not just about war, okay? It's about a law enforcement officer or a fireman that's at a scene where they're cutting people out of cars. It affects so many people. There's PTSD because women have gotten raped or trauma, you know, in war, the female veterans. I mean, it's horrendous. It's on so many levels. And that's why we said, you know what? This is not a mission anymore. This is a movement. And we are gonna put this in the theaters, and it's gonna be worldwide too. Okay? It's not just gonna be a domestic movie for America. It's gonna go worldwide because we realize how big, and you know how they say that there's a time for everything? There's a time for this right now because there's so many people suffering.
It's mounted, the pressure. We're at this point where the pressure is just so much that it's releasing right now. There's so much happening in our government right now that you might agree with, might disagree with. You might hear sound clips of, oh, this person's doing that and it's terrible. You know, maybe some of it's true or not, but if you look a little deeper, you'll see, oh, we're kind of cleaning things up a little so they can run better. For a system to run well, you have to look at the insides and say, all right, this needs to be tuned, adjusted, remove this person, put this in. But you made such a good point. Trauma it's not just about war and veterans, but a child growing up goes through trauma.
That's right. It affects no one is immune from trauma. No one. No one. And we have friends and family, okay? So it affects everybody.
It does. And here's probably like a thread that I can put through there that will help see this in a certain way. So people have different types of trauma, whether it's they don't like their job,
Right.
or they're not happy or fulfilled in life, they're a child suffering with this situation, they're a military vet, whatever it is. So people medicate themselves in different ways. Some of those ways are very destructive, with substances that can hurt them, kill them, put them in prison, hurt, kill other people. And some of the other ways are entertainment. Like someone might go see a movie. Are they going because their life is really perfect and they're just putting the gravy on the potatoes? Yeah, maybe, but a lot of people are going to get away from reality and go exist in another reality just for a while, as a therapy, as a break to take a breath from whatever they're going through, whether they know it or admit it or not. That's one form. In movies, maybe go see stand-up comedy, maybe a music concert.
Some sort of an outlet.
Something that requires their full capacity to pay attention to, so that trauma is set to the side. So it's a good thing.
But it only lasts. It's temporary.
It's just treating the symptoms. It's not working at the cause of the problem.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on something that needs surgery.
It's valuable. It really is. But if treating that symptom doesn't include education, and it doesn't include guidance and a path to the root of the problem, then you're going to be treating symptoms forever. And we'll have movies forever, and TV and media and concerts, and we'll have that forever. And good, we should. But if it has an integrated focus with educating people about their well-being and trauma and the root cause of it and the systems in place that we live, whether it's entertainment, whether it's political, whatever it is, we'll be much powerful as a whole that way. So maybe when you are getting your outlet, whether it's whatever form it's in, think about that. Okay, this is great. I feel good. I feel relieved. Okay, I can go back to work refreshed. But also think about, is this just treating a symptom, or is it helping me get to the root cause of what's affecting my well-being? So this movie is one of those ways to do that. So yeah, there's a lot that can be said here, but one other last point here is there's also a stigma with other things as it relates to people's well-being, and I think technology is one of them. You might hear, oh, they just play video games all day, whether they're an adult or they're a child. And you're right, that could be very destructive in many ways. Or they're scrolling, TikTok all day, and that's all they do. They're just stuck on social media all day. So technology can be like a gun. It can hurt you as like a gun can hurt you, or it could help you, protect you, save you, make you better. So I don't think technology really should have the stigma that it's been given. It really depends on how it's used. And the more people that are awake to their symptoms and the root causes or potential root causes, the more they can take that technology and use it to help themselves. Because it is true, it's being used right now as a pacifier, treating symptoms, and that might be useful, but I think it can be used much better than that. So you have creative people that are using technology for those reasons. And there's a person I know, I'll start with just one. His name's Taylor, and he's awesome. He's helping with this video right now. I mean, I could have done it myself. I'm a pretty smart guy. If you know my background, it'll take me a while to figure it out. I'll have to think, and I could do it. But you know what? I need somebody who can do it quicker and better without me having to learn it all and rush. And the way we can get into the story of how I met Taylor, but he's part of this. He's doing it now.
Yes.
So.
And very talented.
Yes.
And we're blessed to have him here.
Yeah, and I waited a long time to find out how I was going to do this and should I do it. And when I met Taylor, I was like, okay. And listened to him. He opened up, told his story, his life, his path, where he's going, and that's me. I'm always trying to, how can I fit in their life and help them go where they want to go? How can I help them with whatever they want to do?
Well, that's what we're supposed to do as people. We're supposed to help each other, lift each other up, communicate.
Yes, and that's exactly where I'm getting with this. So, whatever technology you use, whether it's social media, video games, AI, that's a big one. That's a scary one for most people. Like, oh no, here comes the Terminator, Skynet, it's going to kill us and ruin us, or it's going to help us. You got people on both sides. I understand the fear, and I have that in mind too. But all this technology, just think about how you're using it. Are you using it to deepen your problems, or are you using it to...
Well, podcasts.
Yeah.
This for one thing.
There you go.
I mean, we didn't have this, how long a podcast been out? I don't think 10 years ago we had them. And now they're a phenomenal resource to get a message out.
Yeah.
To thousands, to millions, possibly billions someday.
You know what I like to call it? I like to call it, sometimes when you're with your doctor, or if you understand why they prescribe medications,
yeah.
you have what's called off-label use.
Yeah.
So you have this medication created for this purpose, but it also does great things for these other purposes. Right. Off-label use. So I like to look at podcasts as there's an off-label use that emerged, which is this. Because I don't think it started out as that. I think it started out as, hey, let's have fun, let's make money. Right. But it's evolved into that and this. Hey, let's reach people, because people are watching, people are listening. They don't trust mainstream media anymore or what they read on the internet. They want to hear real people sitting here talking about real things.
Real things.
And if you want to come meet me and see how real I am, or see how real she is, or Taylor, you can. So
it's better than a camcorder from years ago when we thought that was the bomb back then.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. Just to tie it to one last thing, and I'm so glad you said what you said about people and socializing and getting together. So what's happening right now with technology is people are so immersed in it, and they're not socializing enough. They're not with other human beings in person, in the flesh. Right. They're not touching
text messaging instead of going to actually see
text
someone.
Messaging, trying to fulfill their needs through getting money and fame through TikTok or Instagram. These are good tools. I'm not shaming them. They're fantastic. They need to continue, but people need to drive where they go. And these companies listen to the majority of the people, so let's drive it where it needs to go. So people are not getting enough social interaction. Mm-hmm. Seeing another person, hearing them, smelling them, whatever their cologne's like, whether they smell good or bad, touching them. You touch someone. This is real. This is not virtual. It's not like something you swipe on a screen. Right. All your senses need to be engaged, because when they are, it improves your well-being.
Well, again, it's the technology we have. It's done so much good, but yet it's done harm because people are using it, so excessively that they're losing touch with, like you said, human touch. I mean, I grew up where, kids went out and rode bikes. They went to school, came home, they were outside in the yard playing. Now you've got to worry about pedophiles and stuff. It's sad. I also grew up where our moms just went to each other's houses and sat and had coffee and tea together. And you don't see that anymore. It's like somebody knocks on your door, you're looking out the peephole like, I didn't invite you here. We need to get back to the good old days. And maybe the good old days to somebody means something different, but to me it's interacting with people.
Yes. Yeah.
Reach out and touch someone.
Yeah, that doesn't mean getting rid of technology. Or it means just directing it in a way that improves us, enhances us, supports our well-being. Not in this other direction, not even neutral. I'm talking about the direction of bettering us, not as individuals only, but society as a whole. That will support our well-being in such ways that it'll accelerate it. As long as the majority of most people see that and understand that and wake up to, hey, you know what, oh my goodness, I'm a real person.
We're starting a movement to do that.
That is the movement on so many levels. So what she's doing is part of that. Of course, this great movie being made, are you kidding me, by those names you mentioned? Okay, you have actors and directors that you might be, they're okay, I don't, but I don't know anyone who doesn't love Mel Gibson. That doesn't matter what you think or what you care about. Everybody loves him. Think about the movies he's made. He's probably had some influential inspiration in your life, and you might not even know it.
Yes, and
Braveheart?
he made Hacksaw Ridge with Terry Benedict, which is about a Medal of Honor recipient, Desmond Doss, who is in this museum. And, when I think about how this was all knitted together, it wasn't by accident or coincidence. It's all been done for a purpose greater than I could have ever imagined. Seriously.
Yeah.
These people that God has brought to me, it's just amazing. And He keeps bringing more and more people.
Yeah.
They're talking about tier A actors and actresses for this movie too. That means these are people that are well known. That you go to the theater, you go to see a movie because that person's in your movie. So it's phenomenal.
It is. And just to talk about that, someone might say, oh, I pray to God, God told me this, God's guiding me, I believe this, Jesus that. I'm not saying there's anything good or bad about that. I'm just saying that I think we all kind of realize that there's something very powerful out there. It's some force. We don't know what it is. We don't quite know how to define it. But we all give this explanation or definition or create some relationship with it. So I'm not undermining any religion or faith or anything like that. I'm actually supporting it and recognizing it, because I think we all know that there's something that we can tap into and connect that's clearly unexplainable. Because if that wasn't true, you wouldn't have, atheists that are searching the cosmos with all the technology to see what's out there and how this works. You wouldn't have philosophers digging into consciousness. You wouldn't have any of that, whether they say they're atheists or not. So there's a faith that everybody has, and this faith is that there's something better we can connect and tap into. And it's maybe people have decided it's God. Maybe some people have decided it's cosmic consciousness. Maybe some people say, oh, we're in a simulation. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. The key here is faith. Something you can't.
Well, you know what I tell people?
Tap into.
Because this is my faith.
Yes.
And I don't push my faith on people. I just tell people it's planting seeds. History has been described by BC and AD. BC is before Christ and AD is after his death. Okay? And I also said, last week was Easter, that we know that Jesus Christ is who he is because he was a human. He walked the earth. Okay? And his resurrection proved that he's God. And I'll leave that at that.
Yeah, this common thread that I mentioned, it's really faith, whether it's faith in God or faith, but your ability to believe that something is better and can be better is more powerful than anything. And even if you don't believe in God, you can still see that that's what God, Jesus, that's what's in the Bible. It's really mainly about faith. That's really what it's about. It's not about science and facts and this and that.
Right.
It's about a person just believing and, hey, I can do this. I can get this new job. I can get this promotion. I can improve here. You have to start with belief. And when you have that belief, guess what happens? Your imagination is activated. Then what happens? The creative juices flow. Then what happens? Expression comes out of that. Then what happens? That expression is in the form of art, effort, confidence, whatever it is. So you have to start with faith. Am I right or wrong?
I will say this one thing. This will be in the movie too. When my husband was highly addicted to drugs because of the PTSD, he had run off this one time. He had a job out in New Jersey, and he was working for a friend of our family. He was a truck driver, and he had just had enough that day. And he went and took one of their fleet cars because he was going to check out again. And he had a daughter from previous marriages in Minnesota and Idaho. Well, I get a call from my friend who owns the trucking company and says, is Phil home? Did he come out for lunch? And I said, no. And he says, well, he's not here, and he did his deliveries today, but one of my cars is gone. And I said, oh, no. So right away I knew he's on the way again trying to commit suicide. Well, he had gotten some cocaine from one of the truck drivers, and he took off. And he was on his way, and I knew because he had talked about it with me. He said, honey, I can't do this anymore. I don't want you to live like this with me. Well, anyway, make a long story short, he had a small bag of coke, and he was driving to Minnesota. So they put an APB out on him to go look for him, but my friend who owned the trucking company had to put a stolen car report on him. That was the only way they'd go look for him. And he said, but Cindy, when we find him, I will not press charges. Okay. So he's now in a little town called Effingham, Illinois, and he's got helicopters flying over because they found him. And he's in a truck stop. So he's like, okay, I know I'm in trouble. So he takes this small bag of coke and swallows it. And it burst by his heart, and he went into cardiac arrest.
I have not heard this story. This is a new one for me.
So to make a long story short, he tried to get out of the car, and he passed out on the ground. Ambulances come they bring him over to a little hospital called St. Mary's in Effingham, Illinois. And I get a phone call, am I the next of kin to a Philip Van? And I'm like, next of kin? And the doctor said to me, your husband just expired in our ER room. Do you know if he was on some kind of medication or drugs? And I was hysterical because I was expecting my second child, which was like a month away, which was my JR. So I collapsed, hung the phone up, and I called my younger brother and his wife, and they came over. And this is like 2 o'clock in the morning. And they came over, and the doctor called me back and said, well, we revived him, but he's got no brain, waves or whatever they
Yeah, I
call
know
that.
people like that right now.
So my brother and sister-in-law got me on a plane. I went over to Effingham, and a priest and a nun picked me up, took me over to the hospital, and he was on life support. And the doctors told me there was no hope. And the Catholic I was back then, I knelt by his bed and I cried out to the Lord, and I prayed and prayed. It was like 3 days later, machines are, I could hear the machine going up and down for him to breathe. And all of a sudden, all these bells start going off, and he opens his eyes. And he says, honey, he knew who I was. And I looked at him, and all these doctors and nurses come running in the room. And again, this is like too good to be true, but it's true. And he woke up. And was it the prayers that I was praying? I would hope so. But my husband survived. Okay? So that's another thing. Okay? Faith. I prayed and prayed for that man because I was expecting our second child. And I prayed, I said, Lord, please don't take him from me. I have a 3-year-old and I'm having another one. And he came back literally from the dead. So no one can tell me there's no God. I've had too many miracles happen in my life, and there's more miracles that'll be in the movie.
There's definitely that powerful force there.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yes.
some people call it God, and some people call it something
Oh,
else.
what
But
I
it's
wanted,
there. It's there.
What I wanted
it's
to
there.
say when I brought that up, my husband told me, this was after he sobered up. He said, honey, we need to tell people that there's a real heaven and a hell. He says, because when I swallowed that bag of Coke, Satan came to me with flaming red eyes. Right in front of my face, I heard a loud door, like a metal door slam, and he said to Phil, I got you, now you're mine.
Scary.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
super
then to know that there's a heaven, the day my husband passed away, October the 12th of 2014, that morning at 5 o'clock in the morning when he woke up, I was in his hospital room because I didn't leave him for 9 months in the hospital. I slept on couches and chairs. He said, honey, I'm going home today. I said, no. He said, yes, Jesus came to me and said, I'm going home. He went home that afternoon at 3:13 in the afternoon.
Amazing.
So I know, without a doubt, where he's at, and I know there's a heaven and a hell.
Wow. Yeah. I know there's a lot you can't talk about
Yeah.
the movie, so
But this will be in the movie, too.
so maybe there probably is some things you could talk about. Since I don't know, I'll just like throw little things out and you can say nope, yes, nope. So how about when you were 3 years old? Is that something you could talk about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that one's the one that moves me the most.
Okay, when I was...
Wait, hold it. We're gonna need something. We might need this. We might need this. We might need this. There we go. This one's mostly for me. If you need it too. This one reaches me the
I was
most.
born in 1955. I was born 1.5 pounds. I was a blue baby, and back then those babies passed away because they didn't have NIC units. But I was a fighter from the day I was born. And 3 years later, my mother gave birth in 1958 to my younger brother, and she died 3 weeks later. She had cancer. And my dad was left with 4 children, a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, no, a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, me, 3, and a brand new baby. And he put us in the car and took us to an orphanage and dropped us off. And still till this day, my older sister can tell me that Daddy loved us, and, he loved us even when he gave us away, but, that was trauma that was in my life. I went to my adulthood wondering why my father would just throw us in a car and dump us off and never look back. I was 3 years old. And then I was adopted by my biological dad's brother, which was born in 1908. He was like 60 years old when he adopted me and my baby brother, and my other 2 siblings went to my mother's side. So we were separated. We didn't grow up together, the 4 of us. And I didn't meet my biological brother and sister till I was 32 years old when my JR was born. And we're still, my older brother passed away from heart disease, and my sister is going to be 70, she just turned 75. And I love her, but we don't know each other. It's hard. And this is another part of PTSD, But I didn't know I was subjected to PTSD until I got older and had my own family. And longing for my family. Why did this happen to me? But it's part of my story. It's made me who I am today. And that's why I am trying to, with this movement, to explain to people that we could be better or bitter in life. And I could be bitter like to no end for what's happened to me. And I haven't even spoke about all the things. But I choose to be better. I choose to help people. I choose to encourage people. That's just who God has made me, who I am. And I'm just happy to be here and share this. Happy to meet a man that tries to make people better every single day.
And the part about that story that story that reaches me the most is, if you think a child that's 3 years old, you wouldn't think they could have some kind of trauma. Right? Oh, they're 3 years old, they'll develop, they'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But if you think about how connected an infant or toddler, whatever it is to their mother, mm-hmm. in so many ways, and then all of a sudden, ripped out, gone. Not just slowly fading.
And then there's no dad either. And there's no family because you're put in a strange place.
Yeah, and not just that, but as the person gets older through childhood and teenager and adult, they wouldn't think of that either. Because maybe they don't remember. I don't know, but it's there. It's seated.
As silly as this might sound, when the movie Elf came out, that Christmas movie. Well, how did Elf get to be an elf? Santa came to an orphanage. There was that one scene where the nun, and I was in a Catholic orphanage too, the nun was putting him in his crib. And it was an iron crib in the movie too, and I was in an iron crib. My baby brother was in an iron crib. I looked at that and oh my goodness, did I break down. Because I remember the nun putting him in the crib and saying to him, sweetheart, I hope someday you find family. And what happens? And again, it might sound silly to most people, but it wasn't to me. When Santa came down that chimney and he's eating the cookies and drinking the milk, and little Elf crawls into Santa's bag and he gets taken to the North Pole. It might be silly to most, but how many people like me, saw that were in orphanage, got touched by that? And again, it was storytelling. It was a movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was done through someone's creative mind and the art that they put together.
Exactly.
So art, creation, creativity,
yes.
It's healing.
Yes.
It's medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Everything you're living in has been a creation of something that we, from the beginning of somewhere, right?
Right.
It's all creation fueled, and it's the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
Yes.
Yeah. But that, out of all the stories you've ever told, it's that one about when you were 3. Mm-hmm. Just that event, and just because I can understand how that kind of event is so integrated into the child, not just as this little memory that surfaces later, but it's integrated as part of who they are. So it's tough. Oh, you know what? I always find this hilarious. Every so often you'll tell me the story about a particular conversation with you and Terry Benedict and how he feels about. I don't know how to say it, but you I think you mentioned it earlier before we started recording about you don't take shit from anybody, even from you. I don't know if you want to tell that story, but I think that's hilarious. I love it.
Well, Terry Benedict's.
But you got to tell it with the same.
Yeah, he's awesome. I remember when he came into my life on a Zoom call. I think it was 3 years ago, or no, it was 4 years ago. Because people say, well, do you really have a movie? It's been 4 years already. Well, Terry Benedict will tell you, have you ever made a movie? It takes years. Like he said when he made Hacksaw Ridge with Mel, it takes years because you have to get financing from other people. It's called OPM, other people's money. And it's tough. And we're doing that right now. And it's not an easy thing to do. But when you tap into the right people, you know that it's going to go forward. And we've tapped into some awesome, awesome people that have hearts, that believe in this. And but like Terry Benedict said when he met me, he just, when they tell me that, how much he loves me, I just giggle because, you know, I didn't know Terry Benedict from a hole in the wall. I knew of him, I knew of Mel Gibson, but didn't personally know them. And to be able to talk on Zoom calls, talk on phone calls, they fly in. I mean, it's surreal for me, you know. And little old me from a small little town in Jersey, like people will say, well, what exit you from? I'm from exit 12 on the Jersey Turnpike. And here I am in Texas, and I'm making a movie, and it's just, it's mind-boggling. It's surreal.
Yeah, and you're somewhat reserved now, and I get it, but...
I have to be.
Who says you have to be? Be you. So
I can be me around certain people that get me, that
I get you.
Laugh with me and joke with me.
I get you. But
when I first meet people, though, I have to be reserved.
Well, that's okay. You know what? You've talked for a while. I think people kind of know who you are. But I like to call you the female Joe Pesci.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, if you can imagine Joe Pesci in his
I've been
movies,
around enough mafia people, too, so I get what you say there.
Once you spend time with her, that comes out, and this is the female Joe Pesci. If you like Joe Pesci because of how he is, you would love. It's fine. It's fine.
Like his movie, My Cousin Vinny, you know, with Marisa Tomei. You know, that's me, her.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but I like the way you tell the story about you, Terry Benedict, but with that more Cindy season on it. It's awesome. But
yeah, Terry takes me as I am. He loves
good.
me, and I love him. He's an awesome man. He's got such a creative mind. It's just incredible. And the people, like when he flies in here and we go out to dinner and he tells us about how he dated Madonna. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger's his good friend, of course, Mel Gibson, and he tells us about all these people. And we just sit there and, you know, we laugh with him, and he's just an awesome man, and it's an honor. You know, I look at people that are of notoriety, like the world looks at them as VIPs and notoriety. They're just ordinary people, and Terry Benedict just acts like an ordinary person. Like he's low key when we go out. He's not looking for people to come up for his autograph and that. He's a regular kind of guy. Mel Gibson too, regular kind of guy. Crazy, you know, but a regular kind of guy. And I'm sure Arnold Schwarzenegger's like that too. They're low key. And I'm not doing this movie to become somebody famous. I'm doing this movie because first of all, we're going to honor God with it, because God's the one that brought it to me. And my God is Jesus Christ. And we want to have a movement for mental health. And one of the mental health issues is PTSD.
Yes. And maybe I can excite people by telling them that in the future, maybe there'll be some little clips capturing that part of Cindy that I alluded to. You'll just have to stay tuned.
It'll be in the movie, yes.
You'll have to stay tuned, because I understand her.
I mean, when I met Terry for the first time when I went to Tennessee, because I had talked to him a lot on Zoom, but when I went to Tennessee, and I told him about my life living in Jersey and being around the mafia, and I can't give that stuff away because that's going to be in the movie, but I remember I was sitting across from him at a big round table in a conference room, and when I told him about some of the things of the mafia, I remember he flew forward on his chair with his lounge back and he goes, "Hell yeah!" And I looked at him like, okay. And he goes, "That's a good thing for the movie." And they're talking about doing a series too.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned
I mean, they were joking with me last week about calling the series Jersey Queen. I'm like, no, please no. But who knows?
Yeah. Stay tuned. I'm going to sneak some little clips of her in that mode, that female Joe Pesci mode, or whatever name you want to give it. I think it's awesome to see. I love it. Plus everything else she's doing.
It's me. I don't put on for anybody. I'm who I am. And I look at it this way: if you like me, that's cool. If you don't, That's your loss, not mine.
Yeah. Plus, we know everybody wants to improve and get better, whether
Right.
whether you feel you have some issue or not.
God's given all of us a gift,
Yeah.
and there's some people go to their deathbed and never knew what their gift is.
That's
And
it.
we've got to start realizing we're all gifted, okay?
Yeah.
We're all gifted. You go find your gift and use it.
Yes.
Um,
And one thing that helps you find it is not trying to find it on your own in your own head, but connecting to people in your life.
Yes.
Socialize, make friends, listen to people,
Exactly.
understand them. Don't judge them, don't criticize them.
I mean,
just connect.
There's a pastor, I can't think of his name right now. He wrote the book years ago. It was called The Purpose-Driven Life. And what the book was about was finding your purpose in life. We all have a purpose. And it's sad that some people just never find out what it is.
Yeah. Connect with people. They might not
Yes.
tell you, but you can get insights from other people. You
Yes.
hear them talk. You hear their story. You hear their struggles. You hear their successes, and your mind starts to collect all those things little by little. Plus, you're able to speak to another human and get it all out instead of
Yes.
sort through your own head. That over time that builds up and it collects as this thing that eventually comes out. And hey, I know my purpose. Well, it happens a lot faster when you connect with people in the flesh. So do that. Connect with people. Listen, care. That's really the key is connecting
You
with
know,
people.
there was a commercial when I was young. I don't know if it was in the late 60s or the 70s. Coca-Cola made it. And it was a song. And they were advertising Coca-Cola. And
Yeah, that's a
it was
story.
about people coming together and loving one another. Of course, it was the free love days, you know what I mean? The hippies and all that. But we still need to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I can hear the song in my mind. You know, I don't even remember what the name of the song was, but it was about, you know, they were singing about how we all need to come together and love one another.
Oh, was that a Beatles song? Come together.
No, it was. I'd like to tell the world to sing a perfect harmony, and it was advertising Coke, but it was during the hippie Vietnam era, and it was a phenomenal commercial. But Coca-Cola was advertising it. I'd like to teach the world to sing about perfect harmony.
Yeah,
I could hear it in my head, and that's what we need to come back to.
So, are there any tickets left for the event? I know there's like
Yes,
some.
there is.
Okay.
Yes, there is. And there's, we're asking people, because there's a lot of veterans that can't, you see, it's a fundraiser. It's not about me making money. I'm not getting this money. It's a fundraiser for the movie. And there's a lot of veterans that are coming up and saying that they can't afford tickets. So we're asking people if they'd like to donate and that sort of thing, so we can have these veterans come to the event.
Well, what about people who might want to go? Because, hey, I want to go. This looks like fun.
Well, I know you bought 2 tickets.
Yeah,
and you bought expensive ones.
Well,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wants the whole enchilada, as they would say in Texas.
Well, how could I say no to this? I mean,
Yeah.
this is a gift for me just to meet her and know
Yes,
about this and be
yes.
involved in this because it's already connected what I'm doing. So it's meant to be. It's not me deciding. It's just me. Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. But so for people who might be intrigued by this event, I mean, what are some things that would excite them? Like I don't know if we mentioned about who's going to be there. What are these big names that are going to be there that people might want to see and take a photo
Well, I've
with?
got some Navy SEALs that are coming. One is Clint Bruce. He started the foundation at Carry the Load. He served with Chris Kyle, who was the American sniper that got murdered here in Texas. He's a native son here in Texas, and he's a Texas hero. He's an American hero. Well, Clint served with Chris, so he's my MC, and he's a hoot and a half. So I'm looking forward to him coming. I've got
his wife, right?
What?
His wife, Kayla. I'm sorry.
Taya.
Taya. Sorry.
Yeah, Taya, Chris Kyle's widow. She's going to be one of my speakers. She's coming. I have 2 NFL players, and I don't know what their names are, so forgive me. The mayor of Arlington, Mayor Jim Ross, is going to be there. There used to be a program called Dallas Housewives. Okay, a very well-known Dallas housewife is coming with her husband, and he is I believe, a law enforcement officer and a veteran as well. And then I've got some Hollywood people. I can't give names right now because we have to sign contracts. with
Okay,
them.
so you're not allowed, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, well, you
I
can say that.
have one actress that is coming that might play me too.
Oh.
But I have to wait to sign a contract with her this week in order to use her name. And I have to, abide by that, so.
There was a possibility of a political figure going, but I guess we're not sure. You still,
Yes.
I don't know if you're
yes.
allowed to say that.
I
but-
can't say that
Okay,
either.
so that's why
Yes.
I worded it that
There's
way.
going to be big
Okay.
name people there. Yeah.
What other big names there are that I won't say?
I mean, but I'm going to have Navy SEALs there, and I just jokingly say if anybody acts up or anything, they're going to be hauled out.
And it's black tie, so everybody's
Yes.
going to be very well dressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? There's
And I was told it's black tie, which means a man has to either wear a tuxedo or a suit with a bow tie, and women, of course, in formal wear. And the colors are black, navy, blue, or gold. Well, I was told today that because my favorite color is red, and I'm the honoree, they told me, and I just giggled. They said I could wear red, so we'll see.
Yeah, and so depending on the ticket they buy, they would have an opportunity for photos with some of these.
Yes,
Right? See their
yes.
photos, shake hands. So that's fun. People like
I'm
to do
also
that.
going to have beautiful portraits done by a renowned artist named Michael Reagan, which is
Oh.
a cousin of President Reagan.
Well, it was adopted son, maybe?
No, he's a cousin
Oh, okay,
of
okay.
President
Oh,
Reagan. He is a renowned artist. He has done over 10,000 portraits for Gold Star families. And this man his work is just extravagant. And he has donated 8 portraits for my event, and they're going to be auctioned off, and they're of famous people.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them is Toby Keith, and it is autographed by Toby before Toby passed away. So we're excited about that.
Well, there's another part to that. So there's over 10,000 hand-drawn portraits that if you look at them, you will think it's a photo. It's that good.
Yes.
There's another Marine that drives those portraits
Yes.
all over the U.S.
Yes.
for free, no charge,
Yes. He's
and delivers them to the families,
yes,
right?
and he's become a dear friend.
Yes.
He delivered my husband's to me last month.
Tennis de Jean.
Yep.
He delivered
He
it
came in
to
his
your home.
uniform, in his Marine uniform. He's been retired for years. He knocked on my son's door and presented my husband's portrait to me, and you were there, and it was so beautiful. And he does this. This is a gift to these Gold Star families. He flies, sometimes he drives all over the United States. 10,000 portraits. Well, it's over 10,000 now.
It's a lot. And,
Yes.
and Tennis and I worked together, and I was lucky enough to be the one to actually hold the camera and do all the
Yes,
recording.
yes.
And then Tennis has a copy, I have a copy, he's
Yes,
working on it,
yes.
and I'm helping in some way.
Yes.
So nobody's seen that yet, but that'll
And
go
see,
up.
there's people
Yeah.
like him that are behind the scenes that people don't even know about.
Yeah.
The volunteer work they do
Mhm.
for these fallen soldiers' families. It's just phenomenal. And that's why we've got to put this in a film to let people see. We live, breathe, and eat freedom in America because of our heroes.
Yeah. And freedom is not only in that form, but your freedom in this country with what you do, with what you can't do
Right.
because of laws put in place. But
Yes.
so I'm a big fan of a particular type of coffee. And I didn't know this, but you told me that Black Rifle Coffee
Yes,
donates all their coffee
yes.
to the National Medal of Honor Museum,
Yes, they
except
do.
for the regular tours and probably events too.
And their coffee will be served at my event during this dessert time.
Oh yeah, I love their coffee. I like coffee without anything, so you actually taste the coffee, no
Yes,
sugar, cream, so
yes.
you can tell what good coffee is. So if you're that kind of coffee drinker, yeah, that's awesome.
And
too.
that's a veteran business,
yeah,
and they're honored to do that.
yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, not every business gives stuff away for free. This isn't just a one-time thing for a month they give that coffee away for free. It's all the time. It's in their coffee shop at the Medal of Honor Museum, and they give that coffee. It's donated.
And that museum I
And
think
that's
it's
a
about
beautiful thing.
a month old, right?
It opened in April, yes.
April. And you told me about the Battle of.
No, excuse me, it opened in March, because this is April. It opened last month.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but if you look at the pictures and videos, it's gorgeous.
Oh, I've been there, and it's breathtaking.
Yeah.
You walk down to the front doors, and on both sides, it's in granite of all the donators. It has their names on there. And then you go inside, and you see these men, and I believe there's one woman that has the Medal of Honor. And you see their pictures in there and their stories, and it's just breathtaking.
You did tell me about a story about there was this fight or battle about where it was going to be built or constructed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It
was supposed to originally be, I think there was 5 states that were in the running, and Texas, it was supposed to go into Dallas. And the president and CEO, which is a dear friend of mine, Chris Cassidy, which is a Navy SEAL and an astronaut, and this man is just, he's so awesome. It's because of him we are having the event there. And he fought like heck to have it brought to Arlington. And he went through hoops and hoops of fire, and he got it there. And he said, he remembers the day he got the call from an admiral. And he says, you know, we'd like you to be the president and the CEO of this museum, and I'd like you to come and talk with me in person. And he says, here he is in shorts and in sneaks, and he's got to go meet an admiral. He said, and jokingly he goes, Ross, dress for less, here I come. So he goes and buys himself a shirt, a tie, and pants, and a jacket to go meet this admiral. But this is how humble this man is.
Yeah.
He didn't say, I went to Dillard's, or I went to Nordstrom's, or I went to a men's store. He went to Ross Dress for Less. And he was proud to tell people that. This is the kind of people that are doing phenomenal things.
Yes, it is. Yep, there's a movement going on, and everybody senses it, they know it. So it affects everybody. So I recommend you get involved in it in some way that supports your well-being and everybody around you, because you have to be around these people.
Yes.
So we could go on and on and on,
I know.
but stay tuned. I guess if you have questions, you can reach out to me. Recommendations.
Yes.
I'm very open-minded. Whatever. I
And
will
if you'd
provide
like
money for that.
tickets, it's on Eventbrite, EVENTBRITE.com, and look up my event. It's called The Gala to the Stars, and everything is there.
Yeah, it's there. You know, I'm curious. So, you can't talk about a lot of things because of the movie. You know, you don't want to give too much away, and it's based on your life story, and your life story is in this book. So, is it possible if someone reads this book, they would hear some of these things you're not allowed to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, should we cut that out of the video?
No, that's fine.
So if you want
That's
some
fine.
extra teasers,
I mean, that book is
they're in there.
you know how they talk about have faith as small as a mustard seed. This is a mustard seed size of my life.
Yeah.
I just wrote that to help me grieve. I put memories down. If I wrote a book, I would have to be like 500-600 pages, and I didn't want to do that because I thought, I'm a nobody. Who's gonna want to read my book, 500-600 pages? But I wrote enough that it got the attention of, if you want to call it, the right people, and here I sit doing a podcast about a movie.
And when I read it, I was blown away. And then as time went by, and you and I talked more, we got to become better friends. I realized, whoa, that's nothing. There's so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, it's been fun, and thank you, Taylor, for
thank you, Taylor.
for doing
Taylor
what you do.
is an awesome photographer, and we look forward to doing more of these with you, Taylor. And we look forward to promoting you, because you deserve to be promoted. Just like we
Yes.
promote this movie, we're going to promote your business, and more to come.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. That's it.
As my producers would say, because we have the production company is called 10-4 Films, and our 501c3 is called Legacy Lens. But as my producers would say from Fort Worth, 10-4, over and out.